As I said before, this is round 2 of a premiere event on the morning of 1/12/2013, playing Standard Red, and this is round 2. I won the first 2 games against a Naya-based humans deck, and then I come into this match, again losing the die to roll, which is something that I never enjoy doing with a mono red deck, but we'll see how it works. I'm again watching replays off of MTGO because I wasn't doing it live. Pretty easy off the bat. Just keeping a 2-land hand with Ash Zealots and all 1 and 2 drops. I wasn't going to pass that opportunity up, especially if I rip a land. Then I can go like Ash Zealot, and the next turn like Ash Zealot with Pillar Flame up, and I could have gotten some pretty good things. I didn't know he was playing until he did this, and I assumed it was a Reanimator deck, but I didn't see anything really to worry about at this point. I was kind of like, oh, well, he mulched a bunch of lands, and an Avacyn's program is going to go into his graveyard, no big deal. Then plays an Ogrim Tune, says go, and I'm like, okay, so he's got Reanimator at mana, better start beating in, instead of burning out the Pilgrim, which I ended up doing this turn, but not before he got a chance to Restoration Angel me. I'm not sure if it was a misplay to not do it like the first turn I see it, and then just go like Ash Zealot, Noble Zealot the next turn. That's something I have to look into and see how I'm doing with that, but it seems to be like if a deck wants to play a ramp mana dork type guy, you probably want it not on the board because he's going to want to ramp into something, especially when they leave up Restoration mana at Restoration Angel mana. Maybe I want to look into not doing things because if, let's say I attack here, he's probably going to flash in, blink, maybe like prevent some damage with it if he has a bunch of land, which he clearly does here because he has these 2. He just played 1. So he's got this dude. And so maybe he like jumps, tries to eat 1, does, and then I 2 for 3 him, then using the Pillar Flame on the Angel, which is something I didn't end up doing. So I do that, I get shut down, and now I'm sitting here with that burned, and I just kind of throw a guy down in disgust and say go. And it's at this point that I notice, oh, that's pretty bad too. Yep. And I count his mana 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that takes 1. Oh, it only takes 4. Okay. So basically, I'm saying to myself, okay, next turn he's gonna probably hoof, but right now he has Lingering Souls up. I read hoof a couple times and I realize I'm probably just dead here, unless I can find some way of dealing with it. The way that we mono red decks typically deal with this is with Reanimator decks is with threatens, but hoof there it is typically something that you have a lot more trouble doing that with because they play the guy, all the creatures get stupid big, and then they swing in for a bunch. In the more creatures, the bigger it gets. I, of course, decided to go with the route of playing a bunch of dudes, thinking I could block, but I did that thing where I miscounted his mana, and he goes ahead and Barrow Rights, and then he takes stuff off the triggers, it hits the battlefield, and at this point I realize, oh, I'm dead here. I should have remembered that there was this thing with these triggers, which meant he couldn't have reanimated, because he has 11 here. What I would have had is I would have had these guys here plus these guys, or plus him. So I would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage getting through in the event that I did, or 14 damage getting through in the event that I attacked with everything. He would have had to block and jump something probably, and then do something there. He would have had to block something, or else he would have just been dead to the Ash Zealot. But and that probably still wouldn't have saved me, because as you can see where my life total goes, um, I take 29 damage out of 20. That being not there is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage off the board. So yeah, the play was to just swing for the fences, hope for the best. Because he had to jump something, or else the Yesel trigger would have killed him. He probably would have just eaten the Hell Rider, and I would have been like, oh, well, I'm still dead. But in the event that he did do something that allowed me to kill his dude, maybe I would have survived. But that happens from time to time. I then go on to game 2. Say I would love to play first. And then my opening hand is land, which is common for a deck that's running 24 lands. It's either seems to be flooded or not enough. I don't get a nice 3, which is typically where I would love to have a deck be on, but hey, you can't be perfect every time. So I took the 2. I mean, as a noble, some burn, decent dudes. He then goes over room 2 and tapped. I then go dude, swing in so I can use F6. He mulches and pretty much blanks on it when it comes to things. When you look at what he reveals, and then you look over here and you say, oh well, he has this in his hand, which means he can ditch it on burial rights, which made me a little bit nervous. But I then attack for 5. I get in there, I get a trigger, I get a Pyre Heart Wolf. I'm feeling pretty good. If he plays pretty much anything, I can burn it out. Plays a Lingering Souls. Then I play a Stone Right, and I think to myself, well, if I kill a Spirit, then he just can't block. So I do that, and I can just get in with everything. Rather than maybe like just swinging for the fences and assuming he'll just double block like a Chain Walker or the Stone Right or something, or the Pyre Heart Wolf maybe even, or maybe this to keep the counters down. But I figure getting in for a little bit more is probably better, so I do, and I swing in, get him down to 6. He then manages to untap and play a Centaur Healer, which is probably one of the more annoying cards that I have to deal with. At this point, this is also stuff that he's showing. He has 2 things, we can block anything and kill it, but I have a Searing Spear and a Hell Rider. Thinking about it now, I think I just like have him dead if I use the Searing Spear, because I don't think he has anything for 1 mana that can do anything. I don't think they run like giant growths or anything, so I can just Searing Spirit and then hit for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and have Exaxes. But I decided to Hell Ride, because why not? And I went anyways. Doesn't really matter which way I did it, I would have won, but I feel like the Searing Sphere might have been the better play, just in case he had. No, the Hell Rider was a better play, because if he did have something so that lived, it was bad for me. And I had this as burn back up in case he survived, because those 6 triggers were going to get there. Or 5 triggers were going to get there. So all I had to do was hit with 1 thing, yeah. Which put us to the deciding game 3, which I opened up with a hand, looked at it, and said, I draw most things that's live. Something I've noticed is a land light hand is a lot better keep, like a 2-land hand, because you're running 24 lands in this deck. I'm thinking about cutting it down to like 23, because the typical idea of running so many land is Hellion Crucibles are kind of men. They just take a while to get out. And Thundermaw Hellkites are really important. I'm only running 1 because they're expensive. So I think that is why I need to maybe cut a mountain out of it and reduce down to 23, because I do find myself getting in these situations a lot. But I figure, I got 2 damage on turn 2, and I have a Searing Spear, but I have to remember when I'm on the play, it's a lot easier to keep something like this than it is when I'm on the draw, because if they can establish a board presence early, it's really hard for me to get through, and I end up using multiple cards to do little bits of damage and just trying to get there with it, and it doesn't normally work out. But lucky for me, he takes 2 damage. I'm like, yeah, sweet. And I kill it. His plans aren't working as well as he thought. Drop the Ash Zealot, swing in, and I'm feeling pretty good here. He's only got 4 mana. What's he going to do? A Centaur Healer. Well, I'll kill it. And then I get in for 2 more. And then I'm like, okay, what's he got now? Can't be anything. He got another Centaur Healer. At this point, I realize this card just kind of hoses our deck for multiple reasons. One, most of the time what we want to do is we want to be just getting through. And in decks like this, there tend to be a lot of human-based things because the whole last set was based around humans versus other things. So I was able to just be like, oh, cool, I have this thing called Stormkirk Noble. He just gets through. This doesn't let that happen. It also gains life, it's a big body, and it costs 3 mana. And he played a mana dork. So here I'm kind of like, oh, great. I might as well just Searing Spear that again, get in, just get my 2 damage down. And at this point, I've used 3 burn spells and attacked for 4 turns straight, or 3 turns straight with this. All the value I got was 2 life, which made me very upset because I was thinking to myself, well, this might not. Oh, look, I'm gonna get there now. Because honestly, swinging in for all this damage, I mean, he has to have something. He has something. I mean, I kept finding myself saying that exact phrase. He has to have something. Oh, he has something. Because what happens is you just kind of look at it and it's like, I got all this damage. What is he going to do about it? Here I was a little confused. Why is he attacking with both of these? And then he showed me why. Centaur Healer being unburial rights back onto the board. Which meant out of these 3 pieces of cardboard, digital cardboard, he was going to be able to gain a total of 12 life, and also burn spells or other things that I use on getting these out of the way. So here I just play the Crucible, play my dude, swinging with the Hellkite, and I'm thinking, counter. I mean, I'm out of gas at this point. And here I am thinking, all right, just got to get in for like a little bit of damage. If I drop any burn spell next turn, because I'm going to be attacking with all these things, unless he like unburial rights that, I'm doing pretty good. Well, that's exactly what he did. And then he had a Lingering Souls. So basically, this could have been an all-star if it stayed on the board, but he wisely took it out. I mean, that got double blocked, which I was totally fine with. I just pumped that up to get in the extra damage. And now I'm thinking to myself, you're an idiot. Because the previous board state, I could have been able to like block there. Well, no, because he would just, yeah. In the chat it explains what happened there. But there was a little bit of delay between my play. But what happened is he activated this on his turn, something I didn't consider him doing. And it basically is what got him there. If I considered it, I would have had this pretty much just attacking in and dying. No big deal, but I would have had these guys back to block, and I would have been able to eat that, block that and survive, block that and have that die. Still would have had him dead next turn with the Hellkite, would have been able to stop 12 life getting taken away from me. Would have taken 2, 4, 6. I don't know what his other card was in his hand, and he probably wouldn't have attacked with everything at that point, or he would have like then just flashed back by not attacking with this. But I would have also had this, and it would have changed the story a lot. But the fact of the matter is, I made a bad play, and because of that, he alpha'd. And yeah, -2. So close, so close. But hey, it happens. Maybe, things went different. But yeah, that was round 2, And what happened was I was now 1-1, and if you want to take a little sneak peek, this guy that I just played, yeah, he wound up taking down 5th place in the tournament and going to the